Alright, a lot of you look at the property changer, your brain is completely smoothed over and the entire usage of it just stops right there. Why? Because you haven't read the documentation. Reading is apparently a fate worse than death for some of you. So because you refuse to read, I'm making this video and I'm going to spoon feed this information directly into your brain. I will explain this abomination piece by piece before you go back to copy pasting things you don't understand from some a dusty Discord server. We open up the default script and first up we have instance. This tells the script which is the affected instance. Instances are pretty much everything you see in the Explorer. Parts, folders, decals, models, it's pretty much everything as I said. Right now it says instance equals toucher brackets, meaning that whatever touches the property changer part, it's going to have its properties changed. In this example, when the leg of your character touches the property changer, it is going to have its color changed. But toucher isn't your only option here. You have the options tagged and inside the brackets a string some name. In some name you can put anything. That's the name of your tag. Tags are a Roblox feature that you can see in the instances. Select an instance, go to the properties window and at the bottom you should see the section tags. Click the plus sign, type any random name and then click on the option to add it. Now this instance has that tag. You should know that the option tagged searches only inside the client object folder for affected instances. Then we also have changer brackets. It targets the property changer itself. It changes its own properties basically. And finally we have character brackets. It affects the character of the player directly. But this only gets the model of the character, no part in particular. You will understand how you can do that later on in the video. So pick your object, swap it in the instance field and that's your target. Moving on, next up is twin. This is literally just animation. Instead of your properties changing instantly like a jump scare, they change smoothly. Twininfo.new brackets 0.5. That 0.5 is just the time in seconds. You can put any number in there. And then the rest is just the animation curve options. You absolutely do not need to memorize any of that. And if you hate animation, just delete the entire twin line. The property will snap instantly and nobody will judge you. Well, maybe a little, but who cares? Just remember to not use the animation on a lot of parts, like hundreds of them, as it can cause heavy lag. Now for the meat and potatoes. This is where you actually set what happens. Color. That's the property we're messing with. Could be transparency, size, position, whatever. You can also add as many properties as you want inside the script. But what is this function brackets underscore e nonsense? It looks like a math equation from hell, but it really is not. A function is just a to-do list that spits out a result. Here, we are writing the instructions on the spot. Underscore e is like a little walkie-talkie that the property changer gives you in order to talk with other objects. With it, we can use core functions like changer brackets. You know what changer brackets is, as I already explained it. Without underscore e, you can't use that, because the script wouldn't know what changer is. By the way, underscore e is just a variable name, short for evaluator. You can change it to whatever you want. Then we have common property, and in the brackets we have a string color. That is just selecting the value of that property. So in this case, it grabs the value of the property color from the property changer, and return is just spitting out the answer. So this little block here literally just says, hey underscore e, ask the changer what color it is and swap that exact color on the toucher. The touched part becomes the exact same color as the changer. That's it. It's not rocket science. And you don't even need a function for basic stuff. You can literally just do this. And that just paints the part red. No questions asked. No underscore E, no return, just boom, it's red. It's done. One massive thing to remember is that if you try to change a property that doesn't exist, like you type level equals 10, then the game won't error. Normally, no instance has a property named level, so it just swaps an attribute onto the object instead. An attribute is basically a custom sticky note you can add onto any instance, a custom property, basically. So the property changer doubles as an attribute creator and editor. You need that knowledge as every client object in version 6 of the kit uses attributes, so always keep that in the back of your mind. Alright, now moving on to my first and only example. This absolute unit of a script looks terrifying, but I promise by the end of this, you're going to feel really silly for ever being scared of it. Now the first one, local order. Local just means that this is a private sticky note only this script can see. That is what we call a variable, and you can give it any name. In this case, I chose order. Also, little note here, there are global variables that can be seen by every script. A way to define them is with underscore g dots and some variable name. But you should never use that. Do not ever try using underscore g, as it is often buggy and very hard to debug. I'm pretty sure it is not maintained at all too. The curly braces make a table, or translated to a normal language, a list of things. We've got 1, 2, 3 and 4. These are the names of actual parts sitting in the game. We're setting up a hit list of places for the changer to go. Then we have this. This is a named function. We named it next count so we don't have to retype this exact same thing over and over again everywhere else. Efficiency at its finest. But what about colon underscore c dot evaluator and colon number? Well, these are type annotations. They're basically like the signs you put on your shirt that say, hello, my name is your name. But it's for your code. You can completely delete them and the script will still run perfectly fine. They are literally just there to hold your hand. Ignore them if they make you sweat, but I highly recommend you using them. Here, for example, when I remove the C evaluator from underscore E, it will run the same way. The difference is seen in the script editing. When I remove .changer and try adding it back, I have to type it back character by character. But when I have the C evaluator, the difference is seen only by adding the dot back. You suddenly get a lot of options and typing C immediately shows you the option changer. That is because you told the script that underscore E contains that functionality. Colon number, again, is only a sign. It says that the function will give a number and the script will treat the result as a number. Underscore E changer property counter asks the changer to check its own pockets for that counter attribute we talked about earlier. The part or 0 is a safety net. It means give me the counter, or if it doesn't exist yet, just use 0 so we don't crash the game. Then +1 obviously adds 1. It literally just counts. First time it's 1, next time it's 2. Like, it's just groundbreaking and scary stuff, right? Now notice there are 2 blocks in this properties table. 2 targets. This property changer is pulling double duty. Indeed, you can have infinite instances mentioned inside a property changer. You can see that they are separated by the curved table brackets that I mentioned just a little while ago. Just make sure to not forget the comma after every instance mentioned. Watch out for commas in general. And now moving on inside the first block, we have instance equals changer, which is targeting itself. Then we have the smooth animation, half a second. Then we have counter equals function return next count. It calls our next count function and updates its own counter attribute. And now for the one that makes everyone pee their pants a little bit. I know, it looks diabolical, but stay with me. Hashtag order is just counting the items in our list. There are 4 items, so that's just a 4. That percentage is a module. It just gives you the remainder of division. The entire point of this goofy math is to make the counter whoop. This graph easily explains what's going on. It goes 1, 2, 3, 4 and then wraps right back around to 1. Now we chain it all together. Underscore e changer is the object. Colon parent brackets climbs up the family tree to the object holding it. It goes up. Every object has a parent. In this case, the property changer's parent is this folder, and everything inside the folder is a child of the folder. They are named like that as it is extremely easy to remember and use. Colon find first child goes digging back down into that folder to find the part. You normally put a string in the brackets, which is the name of the part that you are searching for, and in this case, the order table returns a string. You do that by putting these square brackets after typing the table name. In this case, order, and then inside them you put a number. Index is a number variable, so that works too, of course. And finally we have colon property position, which gaps its exact coordinates. And then the results, the changer glides smoothly between these parts every time you touch it. It's absolute cinema. Last block, we're at the finish line. Colon find child, as I explained, just goes down the family tree. It finds billboard GUI inside the property changer, then finds the text label inside of it. A side note, coding is case sensitive at all times. For example, this is a whole world different than this. So be careful what's a big and what's a small letter. It can be really tricky. Just to recap, parent goes up, find child goes down. That is the entire navigation system. Now there are even more options that you might find useful, which I'm going to explain separately later in the video. In this snippet of the script, toString just converts our number into actual text. You can't just hand a text property a roll number. Well, actually you normally can. Roblox is very user friendly, but think about the discipline, the cleanliness you need to have in your scripts. Now that you know the basics of using property changes, I think we can easily go to some more unique examples. Looking at the documentation, we can see the section built-in functions has quite the options that you can use. Because it's supposed to show only basic scripting and functions, I will choose some easy ones to show that I know might be useful for you. Make sure to remember that property changers execute the code only when something touches them. You can change what can touch them in the touch configuration. They do not constantly update, at least not automatically. Player health. This example changes the color of the property changer to red if the player health equals 100, otherwise it will be turned blue. You can compare both values with equals equals, which checks if the value on the left is the same as the one on the right. For numbers, like in this case, you can also use more or equals, less or less or equals. This example makes the property changer red when shift lock is enabled, otherwise it will make it go blue. You can change the true part to false, which is instead gonna detect whether the player has it disabled. Again, remember that property changes work only when something touches them, so it's not going to update automatically to blue when shift lock is enabled. Key down. Here, when the key E is held down when the property changer is touched, then it's gonna make it red, otherwise it will be turned blue. You can change the E to say anything. Just delete it with backspace and you will immediately see a ton of options, some even exclusive to console. But a good idea is to keep your tower playable on every device. Speaking of devices, we also have preferred input. This example shows you a way to detect on what device the player is playing. Well, not exactly, but it works most of the times like this, and I will keep it simple for you all. The first if one you see has keyboard and mouse, which means that if it detects keyboard and mouse from the player, the part will turn red. If there is no keyboard and mouse, it will check for gamepad, simply said a console player. It changes the color to green if it finds one. And the last option is touch. If it finds the player having a touchscreen as the main input, which is usually mobile players, then it will change the color to blue. You can also see this option else. Normally the script shouldn't be able to go there, but it is not happy if you don't leave it a fallback option. And lastly we have is jumping. That is the option to detect whether the player is currently jumping. This again changes the color to red when the player is jumping and to blue when he isn't. Again, remember that the property changers execute this function only on touch. As I said earlier, I will give some more examples that you might find useful when working with the family tree in the Explorer. The examples here are great because I wanted to put them all in one image. I have put the property changer in every example as the main part, but remember that you can put any instance. Find descendant child name. Search is not only inside the children of the property changer, it will also search inside the children of the children and the children of the children of the children and the, well, you get it. It will search through everything inside of it. That is what a descendant is. Find child of class name. Searches for an instance of a certain class. You can open up the properties page of any instance and you will see that there is this little property named class name. That is the name of the class of that instance. Find descendant of class name. Is the same as the previous one, but it looks through everything. You know the difference between just a child and a descendant. Find ancestor parent name is the opposite of descendant. Instead of going down, it goes constantly up and tries finding the first parent with that name. So it goes parents, then parents of the parents, then parent of the parent of the parents. Yeah, you get it. Find ancestor of class name. I think you can understand yourself now logically. It finds the first parent that is the given class. And here in this last example you can see a function that has both getChildren and getDescendants used. GetChildren will grab only the children of the property changer and change them to red in the first example. GetDescendants will grab everything and change it to red. You know the difference between between the children and descendants, so I won't repeat myself. And that's it. That's a property changer. I tried to explain the most basic of functions in an understandable for everyone way, and hopefully I succeeded. If you have any specific question, you can always ask in the comments, but please learn how to use these things yourself and don't ask people to make functions for you. Remember to subscribe because at 1000 subscribers I will publicly shame myself. In the next video I might show you how to create custom scripts for version 6 of the kit, but you will need some scripting knowledge for that one. And that's because I can't explain the basics every single time. Now, that's it. Bye bye.